A late night meeting in the Capitol might mean an overhaul of Missouri tax incentives. The relief effort in Joplin is just as impactful as is the destruction you can see behind me. For those looking to save a dime, you might consider parking in the garage rather than paying the meter. For every hour you park, you'll save 10 cents. Over the past 2 days, there have been a rush on grocery stores like Hy-Vee. However, today, only those with four-wheel drive are shopping. A new report is out from the state auditor's office showing how Missouri compares with the rest of the nation when it comes to the economy, education, health, and transportation. Right now, the Missouri River is just above 23 feet. In order to have any impact on the Katy Trail or Rocheport, the water needs to rise another 11 feet. Every time you swipe your debit card, there's a fee to process that transaction. The question is who should pick up the tab. On our website, KOMU.com, you can see a complete list of the different drawings and designs that they provided. The meeting is tonight at 7 o'clock at City Hall.
Well, it knocked over our house.
Morgan Ferris is 3. Her house was destroyed by the tornado in Joplin. That must have been pretty scary, huh?
Yeah, that was a nightmare.
She lost her blankie in the near 200-mile-per-hour winds.
It just flew it out of my hands.
Her family survived the tornado in the crawl space underneath their house.
I decided that I was going to go out and survey the damages, and I thought maybe we may have had a window out, or the garage was the only thing taken. And when I went out, it was devastating.
Their block was leveled, their trees stripped, their cars swept away. But then church members came to their aid.
Daisy, when she come down the street yelling my wife's name, it was just like an answered prayer, because we had no idea where we were going to go.
We didn't realize that the storm had been as severe as it was until we started receiving phone calls and texts.
And she said, everything's going to be fine. We're going to take you to my house. We have power. You can take a bath, because we were very dirty from the storm.
The devastation is total in a lot of areas, but there have been miraculous stories that have come out of almost every single person.
Today they are closer than ever before, in more ways than one.
While I went out and surveyed the damages and then went back under the crawl space, I was crying, and my little girl said, "Daddy, it's okay." And we said a prayer together into the house that those people that were affected, that they would be okay, and that our Father in heaven that would take care of those that had been in the path.
It makes me feel like a brave, super strong girl.
2 families in one home. Double the clothes, double the laundry, double the love. Brian Johnson, KOMU 8 News, Joplin.
Nice elevator. None.
Elton Fay has practiced law in Columbia for 34 years.
I see lots of parking places. Nobody parking in them.
He owns a law office next door to the garage, so he attended initial meetings about it.
And at those meetings, they showed us plans for what I would consider a reasonable size parking garage.
In 2001, Columbia commissioned a transportation consultant, Trans Systems Corporation, to evaluate the need for additional parking downtown. Trans Systems' final recommendation was to add 300 spaces north of Broadway to meet projected future demands and aid in accommodating special events. This would increase the number of empty spaces downtown during peak times and leave an excess available to handle special events. But the garage the city eventually built was 703 spaces, more than double Trans Systems' recommendation. The cost with interest will be $21 million. The city won't pay it off in full until 2034.
It makes it easy to tell people where our office and building is. We just say, look at the huge garage downtown that doesn't look like it's, supposed to be there, and we are right west of there.
Tony St. Romain has been the assistant city manager since 2006, long before construction on the garage began.
I don't think that garage has 700 spaces in it, does it?
It has 703 spaces.
Is it 703 spaces?
703 spaces.
I'm not even familiar with the study.
703 spaces. Of those, 520 called permit spaces are for rent by anyone who wants to pay $50 to $60 a month. Right now, 139 of those spaces, or about 27%, are occupied. Of those, 36 are city vehicles parked on the roof. City employees use 59 more spaces but get to park for free as part of their benefits package. 8 additional people transferred from other garages. So the number of new monthly customers for the city, thanks to this garage, is 36.
I personally think the Fifth and Walnut garage was overbuilt. I think had it been a 300 space garage, you wouldn't be interviewing me right now.
Mayor Bob McDavid was elected after the decision to construct the Fifth and Walnut parking garage was made.
There are 5 members of the council, including myself, who were not part of that decision process. I believe the process was flawed. We committed $16 million to a garage that is going to lose money for some time.
So who is responsible for the fact that the garage is more than double the recommendation? Elton Fay blames John Glascott, Director of Public Works, for the size of the garage.
That would be enough in most places to cause somebody to lose their job over a mistake like this one. And that's what it is, a mistake.
But the mayor says it's too soon to judge failure or success.
You know, if we end up with 5 high-rise office buildings surrounding that Fifth and Walnut garage, the people that made the decision will look brilliant. If, however, it continues to stand solitary and alone, monopolizing the skyline in 20 years, they won't look so good.
Right now, I think a lot of people are doubting whether those spaces will ever fill up. But I think if you look at past history of all the other garages we built downtown, as future development comes, there's going to be an additional need for parking.
Future needs that might be met by another parking garage to be built on Short Street. Brian Johnson, KOMU 8 News, Columbia.
Sorry.
Rizwan Islam moved to mid-Missouri when he was 12 years old. He's a doctor by trade and a Muslim by faith. Like hundreds of other Muslims here, his world changed after 9/11.
Some of our relatives or some of our friends who were visited by officials questioning about, what their motives on different things they were doing.
I remember I didn't go to school the next day just because my parents were worried people might be out and about causing trouble.
10 years later, prejudices against this peaceful religion continue. A recent proposal to build a mosque near Ground Zero drew nationwide protests.
The past couple of years when Islam came back into the spotlight and it was presented as a threat, you could see people reacting very negatively because it seems like there's still some raw wounds.
9/11 has also had positive effects on Muslims in central Missouri. It has re-energized the faith, and now more people are attending the mosque for prayer services. But it has also helped raise awareness among those of other faiths about who Muslims are and what they believe in.
There's just more pressure to be excellent. Everything you do has to be excellent to show that you are a contributing member, to prove that you are just as motivated as anyone else.
The Islamic Center plans on expanding. It will add new grades to its school, build a gym, and an apartment building.
Maybe sometime this year we should be able to, before the winter hits, so there's some groundbreaking, at least something to get started.
Muslims want peaceful coexistence and mutual understanding with their neighbors. One thing remains the same: people of all faiths have more in common than not.
It's our first time actually being on TV.
Oh, yeah?
How do you feel? Are you excited?
Awesome!
Tell all your friends?
Yeah!
Kids remind us there's bright hope for the future. Brian Johnson, KOMU 8 News, Columbia.